It's their employees.
Yeah, but public.
Yeah, you know,
Okay. Turn everything back on.
I'm close friends with the finance director from at least.
The only thing I have in claims and demands, Terry,
yeah.
is that we're paying Pierce again.
Yeah,
Last thing
okay.
he said it was done, and now we got $5,000 again for Pierce.
And I'll have to bring, I can bring the, we didn't bring anything down, did we? The claims and demands. And you're gonna see another one on the next one because they were underpaid on their last invoice, $225. So it's gonna come back again because there was an accounting error and something was left off.
That's something I
Yeah,
probably would have done, $5,000.
yeah, I apologize, it was the routing adjustments.
Yeah, you can answer.
I have,
That's all I have.
I have a
It
couple
was
of
just
questions.
follow-up things for them, rerouting documents and signature and those things.
I don't like the idea.
You can leave it open. Jim?
Oh, yeah, we got the
Jim?
Give
The door open.
I'll leave it open?
Yes, please.
I don't like the idea of not reviewing claims and demands in lieu of a lack of time. I've got a couple of questions, but I think I can just talk to Ariel about them, and I know that you've reviewed documents that I've reviewed. So
That's my concern.
I've got a couple of small ones, but I'll address them to you before the board meeting. I don't think that there's
And
any issue.
this is the meeting that would approve it. That's just- that was my concern.
Asking what it was, right?
Just for any people on Channel 39 that are bored to tears now actually watching this, we will be not reviewing claims and demands for the first time in a long time today because of a lack of time. Councilman Zeitz and myself have reviewed it in detail. I have a couple of questions, but none of them amount to anything that would stop a recommendation going forward of approval of claims and demands. And so we're going to not do that in public forum today because we just ran out of time. And rather than reconvening in another time, I think staff's time is better used doing other things at this point. So we won't be formally reviewing claims and demands today if everybody agrees. And the issues, other issues on the agenda are not being brought forward until next February meeting.
February.
So without objection, we'll delay those issues until the February meeting, or if need comes up, we can have a special administrative meeting before that time. So those of you on Channel 39, sorry. I did want to say before you, I don't want you hanging as if you were all that concerned in the first place, but we did have a discussion after you left, and I believe it's consensus that we're going forward, making a recommendation to council, and that we follow through with hiring you to coordinate our city's activities. And appreciate your coming today and helped us get through this process and feeling more comfortable moving forward. Any other comments, thoughts?
Thank you for your time and your answers, and appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Deferring other issues of business until the next meeting, which will be items 7, 8, 9, 10. Do we have any other committee member comments?
No, just one point for Terry, I guess. I'm not going to be able to look through it, but there was some assets in the annual report. Without getting to it real quick, I just don't know what they are.
For the vehicles?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, I went through it and I thought, gosh, there's a lot of money and a lot of stuff, but I've got rid of all of our police cars.
Well, we have 2 boats, and we have the 2 alternative fuel vehicles that were out. One was like 50, the other was 40, and the boats were like 20. So it's the 2 vehicles, the stuff for like the police.
It just seemed like a lot of money. And I haven't gotten to find it real quick, but just the question I had.
I have a detailed listing of all our assets, I can forward that to Aaron, which is good.
Okay,
The big one is your two alternative fuel vehicles and the two boats, and then the light boards and the stuff that goes on the road.
alternative fuel vehicles should be appreciated so much that
They actually have really low mileage on them as well.
they're old.
Oh, one's only a couple of years old.
One's like 2 years old.
One's like 4
They
years.
might be-
Yeah, we have
I
a
got
truck.
one when I was on years ago.
I think we replaced them.
Yeah, yeah, we have a truck and an SUV, and both of them are fairly new.
Yes, you do, so.
Thank you, Ron. Good luck to see you soon.
Okay, I have one thing I'd like to cover, some like features, our issue of receivables, who we've got outstanding billings to, you know, when we issue a citation, for instance. Something we've never covered, do we have outstanding?
It would be through data ticket, so we can get that information.
And Data Ticket puts them on the income tax roll, so if somebody has income tax due back to them, the state of California takes it and remits it to us.
We get about 6 or 7 of those payments a year.
Yeah.
Okay, but,
We can get the listing.
yeah, I just want to know what our receivables are
Yeah, data ticket from them.
and what we do to collect.
We usually let data ticket do it.
That's our only collection
We have
agency.
one that's out for $50,000 for the landscape company.
But that's a different thing.
That's a different one, yeah.
Still like to get a list of our receivables to review, I don't think it's something we really.
Okay.
City does it on a normal basis, bill.
I'm
a
sorry?
lot. We don't do a lot of billing of individuals, like if someone hits one of our poles, we'll bill them, you know, if there's a traffic accident there at all.
Yeah.
But on the most part, we don't usually bill too many people other than the citations.
Okay, with citations, though, how are we, you know, is data tickets our only collection mechanism? Do people come into the office and write checks?
Everything goes through data ticket, they collect it, they do it, they have attorneys, they review it, they put it on it. People don't pay, they do their process, then it goes on the state tax rolls.
Do we review our receivables before we issue new business licenses?
Code enforcement does it. If we have outstanding tickets for code enforcement, they have to pay those off before they can renew a business license.
So I would assume that was our primary means of collection,
Yeah, because code enforcement has to sign off on it.
and they're doing that now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to see that list of receivables, so we can go through that sometime in the future, and try to better understand what we're doing and whether it's being effective or not.
Now, data tickets are the largest in the state, they do it for probably 200 municipals in the state. So
I'd like to see whether they're being effective too.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that there's a whole lot of people that don't pay California tax, and I would assume there's a whole lot of people that know means of collecting.
I got an architect one time I didn't agree with, so I wasn't gonna pay it.
And then they took it out.
1 year and like 50, I got a refund from the state, they took it.
With all the money we're paying you, that makes sense. Some people don't.
Okay, it went from 62 to 79 for the assets, so forget about it. So
Well, we cleaned it up a little, we got rid of the 4 old police
which
cars.
is okay, you know.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Terry, you gotta fix up my screw up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Staff comments?
No, nothing?
It is now 9:25, and without objection, the Administrative Finance Committee meeting is adjourned.
The fourth quarter, Terry, you gotta fix that fourth quarter on the water.
Yeah.
Doesn't Aaron copy?
Help you, help us, because it really is a team effort, that the contractors or homeowner trying to get their project done doesn't want obstacles, and we don't want to be an obstacle, we want to be a help, and we can really do that. You don't have to go out into the field with the mentality that you're there to enforce, but you're there to help. If you go out that way, I guarantee you, I really have, I'll tell you, if I may, just really quick. Like I said, 14 years I was at one city, and when I left, they didn't know I was a consultant. But one of the contractors, when I first got there, he was like, oh, he's telling me what to do. When I left, he's like, well, I've learned so much. Why are you leaving? That spoke so much to me, because my job was not to hear him. I explained to him everything along the way. And he really said, you know, why are you leaving? And I learned so much, and that was really a touching thing for me.
One last question. Politically, the public likes to hear politicians say, we're going to change things, we're going to make things better for you, and all this other kind of stuff. And the thing people hate most is change. And one of the things I think that's going to happen, if all of this works out, is the contract's going to say, we got these new people, now what are they going to do? What am I going to be responsible for now? What's it going to be? And while change may be good, because you may be better, it's also a feared thing. So how are you going to handle this change?
Well, you know, I don't think there'll be change, but I will be the project manager. You'll see me from time to time. If there's any conflicts in the field, I would be the one to resolve them. And I'm well known, I think, because I was here, I was the, you know, when the city was going through the crisis where the state was going to come in and take over your building department. I was the one they contacted. I brought my team out. We met with the state here. While we were meeting with the state on the home that there was a problem, the current inspector came to the job to do an inspection of the repairs that were, you know, pulled up to the curb, rolled his window down, said, "Where's the job card?" Didn't know we were there. So I've been here since that, and I recognize that there was a lot of damage that had been done, and I believe that we really did at that point a good job of turning it around, making us a respected, making Kenyon Lake a respected building department, not feared, and not. You had homeowners that were. A lot of the fallout that we had was dealing with things that were approved that really were substandard and having to work with people, but we were able to do that in such a way that I think it kept it from becoming political. And there was a few things not, but so I've been involved in that. I know the city, so there's that aspect. You know, we're going to be providing you additional counter hours, so there's lots of positives. One of the things that we talked about, another value thing, is that we've, in our proposal, is offered our permitting software, which is cutting edge software that Ron had mentioned, the FaceTime. We have options of being able to do things electronically. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on it unless you want me to, but we're offering that program so that it's not just in, you know, it's an Excel file right now is what it is, and we'll be able to do a permitting software that will help with reports for your finance department. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell, but we really feel that your constituency, if you select us as your building and safety, won't feel the pain. They're going to feel, they're going to get the impression of getting better service. I really believe that.
I just want to make one quick comment, not a question, comments you don't have to answer. I was on the council back then when that happened. We didn't know. We thought we had somebody who was an instructor who knew all about planning and knew all that kind of stuff. And we didn't know until this stuff hit the fan.
Right.
And that there weren't inspections and things weren't being constructed right. And that's where I wanted to get back to what I asked earlier about making sure things were done right. And you know, it's too bad you don't find out as an elected body until it's too late.
You mentioned change, and change-wise, the code is still the same code as it is, as was adopted. So far as regulations go, there won't be any change. It's the same code that your previous entity had to enforce. It's the same code we're going to have to enforce. We're just going to do it with a different customer service way. And hopefully you'll find, as we have found in many cities that we've gone into, it's been a positive because our customer service, it's how we deliver that information. So change-wise, you're not going to get any new codes until code adoption time comes. But then again, we hold forums and explain to them any of the changes, if they so like to come, any of the changes that are coming down the pipe.
And as far as, just you mentioned the original, the difference there will be is that I'll be your project manager, and I assure you that, you know, I do quality control stuff and our people. You won't have that you won't have that scenario again, I assure you.
I guess that you answered my follow-up to this line of questioning, but I think one reason, as John mentioned, we got in trouble was that we don't know planning or building. And I can't hold a hammer, hurting myself. There needs to be, in my estimation, some sort of performance auditing, review, oversight of what's going on here so that we're not left with somebody doing a minimalist job and with no accountability to somebody that knows the process. So if you're taking on building, how would you oversee the work of the people that's being done here?
That's a good question. What I currently do is that, somebody goes out on vacation or sick, I will come in and sometimes backfill, and I'll go on to jobs that they've been on. And every inspector's gonna see something different. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna go behind the wagon, this or that, or they're gonna come behind me. But you look at the big picture. I will be available. I plan on being out here, 1 or 2 times a week, just checking on things. Initially, I'll probably hear a little bit more than that, just kind of, but, just a lot of communication with the inspector. If there's an issue with the homeowner, where the homeowner calls up and says, hey, I got something, then I would be handling that, and working with the inspector. So there's it's not that my inspector is just gonna come in and, okay, do it, and I'll check back with you at the Christmas party. We'll have some regular interaction, and it's not about, it's about us getting better. As I stated, somebody could come behind me and see something that I might have missed, but we all learn from that, and I encourage that we work together as a team, and it's just a constant ongoing. We spend a lot of time on training and trying to stay up to date on the new code things, but also just working together and just overseeing that what's being done and being a part of it, hands-on.
I guess I'm not 100% comfortable with that response in that it's easy to, say, the people, you get comfortable with people, you think everything's right until all of a sudden you realize there's some shenanigans going on, or somebody's hitting the bottle or spending night, whatever it might be. We need to make sure we're not in a position where we were before, where we're backdoored, where we're left not knowing that we would have somebody that was incompetent doing the job for us. And I think it's important to feel comfortable with that your oversight, however that might be, whether it's through, an audit or, just casual review, whatever it is, that there's some sort of a plan in place to make sure that that we're not being taken advantage of by somebody who knows that we don't know what we're looking at. So we're part of why we're doing this is to make sure that that you have a firm that can assume those oversight capacities and guarantee the work.
Besides Jim being here, I also am coming in here to check on things and work with folks, having been a building official and an engineer, being able to check counts and do all those other things that we need to do here. But we also have the fortunate opportunity of having one of our team members who actually is a resident here and who is part of engineering, who understands, not only been a part of engineering, but has been a part of building and safety and knows how things operate, knows the folks who will be here. And she's been a manager at a couple of our sites. So we have a team of folks, but we also have the ability to have daily oversight, daily check-in. And believe me, they don't want to mess with her.
I am Margaret.
Hi, Margaret.
I've been working in engineering for quite a while, but I've lived here since 2003, raised my children here. And my intention is to actually come in and interact with the city staff to the extent that, okay, have you heard anything? Do you need anything? That's my first and foremost. To the extent that, you know, I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that, when I said, hey, Canyon Lake has a RFP, can we do this? Because I live here. And it's important to me, knowing what kind of customer service we provide elsewhere, that we should have it here. We need that here, so.
And I did not want to be accusing anybody of any potential wrongdoing or lack of, but I just need to make sure that we're well covered.
Well, something else I think would maybe give you some comfort is, I'm familiar with the firm that you were talking about. It's a small firm, very few jurisdictions and not a lot of years' experience. I've been doing this 30 years as a building inspector, and 25 as upper management in building official, senior inspector type. That's the only time I've ever heard of that.
Okay.
It's an extreme rarity. Now, there's been times where, you know, a jurisdiction finds out, you know, an inspector, you know, is going off to the bar and signing job cards there, but that's a jurisdictional thing. We're private, and it's a different standard. We vet that out through our interview process, you know. One of the disadvantages a jurisdiction has is some of the laws and the way it interviews. I sit on interview panels all the time, and we've got 15, 20 minutes to evaluate an inspector. We can sit down and we can talk with them and spend 30 minutes, and we go through not just one interview process. I have to interview them, then Ron or one of our other managers, we have 2 or 3 different managers that will interview if we hire somebody new. But most of our people have been here, you know, a long period of time, and they've proven themselves. And I think our company reputation of being able to stay in cities as long as we have, I think that speaks to that. And like I say, that was an isolated incident, but I think the size of our firm and our reputation and our inner quality requirements, I think, would address that. So,
Brings up a thought on concerns about continuity of service. Just as an example, I've had a complaint. You know, we came in here, got our architectural plans approved, and now we're out in the building cycle, and the guy's done something, and the builder says, hey, we did it according to plan, and the inspector comes out and says, well, the plan was wrong. He says, well, you guys approved it. Well, it wasn't approved properly. And so, you know, regardless of whether the due process occurred, there are issues. That's not the image that we want to have. We don't want, you know, one side of the, you know, one set of review overriding another set of review, causing problems for the builders. Do you have any comments on that?
yeah, you know, unfortunately, that does occur on occasion. And you got a guy who's looking, or gal looking at a set of plans in the office, and they've got this train of thought, they're looking at it in one aspect. And then the inspector comes out in the field and he's looking at something in more detail, or actually the way it's constructed. And so there's kind of, that kind of stuff happens, but it's in the delivery and it's in the team aspect of saying, okay, I think we have a problem. Well, I know it's the way we designed it. I know, but we need clarification, because what's shown here didn't adequately address this. And so it's a matter of sitting down and I think it's a lot in the delivery, in the customer service delivery, that makes that where people push back. But if you can say, look, I understand, and you try to work with them to resolve these issues, one thing I love about our plan check staff is they're available by phone. When I have had a problem out in the field, I can call Ron, or I can call Steve Ahuna, or one of our other one of our structural engineers, and say, here's what I got out in the field. And he says, snap me a picture of it, or, you know, give me, you know, well, and he'll stop right then, and we work through it. It's not a matter where, you know, it's you know, a lot of times it's in some jurisdictions that I've seen and come and insisted in, the inspector says, hey, it's not my problem. You fix it, submit it, it's 2 weeks for plan check. And the guy's sitting there waiting. That's not customer service. We understand that time is money, and we work through those things and try to address staff.
How often do those kind of problems occur?
Not very often, I mean, I would say it's pretty rare.
I got 1,000 more questions, but okay. Let me ask one other, I think we're gonna try to wind this up, but
Okay.
let me ask one other question that's very important to me. In the near future, we hope to have a fairly substantial development occur in the city. You know, some equivalent, 1,000 new homes, that type of thing, possible anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of planning, building, you know, issues involved in that kind of development or subdevelopment. Could you address your capabilities of handling subdevelopment activity?
Currently, we have a number of projects, 600-unit podium structures going on in other cities, and we've done a number of mass development on housing units. We turn around in the same time frame. If we put a team of folks on there to get the planning check done in the same time frame we would do a single house. We've done tracks for Orange County, for the county of Orange. I mean, a lot of their new development they're doing in the open for the county of Orange, we do plan check for them because they don't have the staff to do it in a timely fashion. We do those in a week. We put enough staff on it, enough engineers, enough architectural folks, and we take care of them in less time than the city. The county of Orange is able to take care of those, and we do those in a very quick time frame. And if I may, real quick, we've done 30-story hotel units for Las Vegas in the same time frame of 10 days, 7 days. We just put the resources on it, get it done, because it's for a builder, time is money.
So you'd be willing to do the same for us?
We do it for everyone.
Okay.
We do it, that's our modus of
That's what we do.
operation. That's just what we do. That is what we do, that's what's made us successful.
I've got to ask at least one more question,
You're the chair.
John. In engineering, we've got two big issues that confront it. One is when we did do a major construction project here, I was very concerned that and I'm still concerned, that the contracting was inadequate at best. I'd like to hear briefly about whatever you can tell us to assure us that the ability to issue an RFP for public works project and monitor it and make sure that it's money is being well spent in relationship to what you do. The other thing is just any kind of a comment you can make in relationship to that concern. The other thing is ability to handle little odds and ends that crop up where we need engineering expertise and availability. And if somebody could address those two concerns, I would appreciate it.
I'll take your question. Currently, I'm managing the CIP with a budget of $50 million. The way that we handle not only the multi-million-dollar projects, but the $2,000 and $3,000 projects is we'll produce an RFP or a request for a proposal for a minor project. We'll get those in, we will check to make sure that the lowest responsible bidder is actually responsible to the extent that we're legally able to do so. Monitoring the contract would, construction management not only involves inspection, but as well as budget control. So as far as the quality of the construction, that would be on us to make sure that they're actually doing their job based on the request in the plans and the standards and the specifications.
And my concern relates specifically to the complexity of law associated with contracting. I mean, it's not as simple as, just opening looking for the lowest responsible bid. Methodologies of handling payments and changes and handling, the assurances that are required by, it's critical that be done in accordance to a very complex law, and that able to manage the process within the law while assuring that things are being done logically and in the best financial interest of the city. So again, I'm looking for some sort of response that would show a sophisticated understanding of that contracting process.
Knowing the specifications for, assuming that the specifications are the standard specifications and the contract law as far as that is concerned, if there is any violations, we are able to actually withhold payment based on any violations that we're seeing. Now, as far as setting up, I guess I need to ask you a question as to what it is that you're looking for as far as contract management, to the extent that, you weren't happy with how the last one happened.
Well, first of all, I need to know that you understand that our expectation is that somebody from your team, if we have something like the road project, we don't see anything in the pipeline, I don't think. But, that's a complex procurement process, that you're in position to
Oh,
do that.
no, I understand. Our CEO has been a city engineer for a number of years himself. Danny Chow, 35 years in engineering, has been a city engineer, has gone through the processes for other cities. We currently are in operation, and we're the city engineer in Aliso Viejo in Apple Valley, where we're doing a huge bridge project. So a lot of those, the things that you're talking about are consistent in all of these cities, because it's state of California, we have to follow the same guidelines. So we have a team of folks, a number of engineers with years, I'm talking 30 years, 20 years of experience being city engineers, assistant city engineers, who worked on a number of projects, I think, that will fall in any project that we can do here. I mean, currently we're doing the bridge across the Mojave, I think it is, in Apple Valley. It's quite an extensive ordeal that was held up prior to us, doing things with the state, and it took our team working with the state, working with the local municipalities around there to get that thing going, and it is almost done. You can visit it. In fact, I invite you to talk to that council up there and see how well that has gone. And in fact, to any of the councils that we've worked for, in Aliso Viejo, in Apple Valley, and 29 Palms, where we've done city engineering for a number of years, dealing with the same complexity. So you can, peer-to-peer, get an understanding of what our team can provide.
I guess I need a direct answer. Were you aware and are you comfortable with managing any complex procurement processes that come across that require technical expertise?
Yes, sir. Danny Chow would be the first point. Danny, you've had a number of years, so if you want to chime in here.
Yeah, I've been with the firm since 1989, and I have helped a number of agencies to prepare, design construction plans, and write up bid specs and contract documents, and gone through the process of advertise the project and award the project, and then construction management throughout the construction.
Progress management, change management, all of that?
Changes and inspections and review payment requests and close out the project, and including federally funded projects and state funded projects.
I guess my sentiment here is we're probably just gonna have to trust you on this, but I'm somewhat concerned if something like that comes up, that we need a greater level of confidence in the management of that. You know, that we have to be very comfortable on what we're moving forward to do to make sure it's managed properly. You know, I can, and no reflection on what you said, it's just we don't have time to go into it.
No, and I understand that, but see, one thing about our approach, it's a team approach, meaning Daddy Chow may be working on something, and he may have something that comes, or even myself, I mean, if you know, have something that comes about, I have a team of folks who've had experience, whether it's flood control, a team of folks with a lot of years of experience behind us, so we don't isolate it to that one person there. We use the team approach. I mean, we have a PhD on staff, and if you had a nuclear facility here, I mean, that's the approach we use, is a team approach, to make sure that we take care of the, whatever it is, with the appropriate person with the right knowledge. So, I mean, I think that's really the best answer I can give you.
Okay, I'm sorry for belaboring this, but it's probably one of the most important decisions that we're going to make this year. And I know that I can appear to be a bit abrasive and adversarial in this kind of a situation, but it's nothing other than trying to ferret out as much as I can in the shortest time possible. Without, you know, I would love to sit with you guys and spend another 2 hours doing this, and we obviously don't have time to do this. So, are you comfortable making a recommendation to the council at this point?
Yes, I am. I think Margaret and Jim, and the team approach, I think, gives us what we need at this point in time. And I feel comfortable that we're not a decision-making body, we're a recommending body.
Yes, sir.
I would feel comfortable recommending to the council that we accept this.
Staff comments related to this topic?
No, we've met and talked with them on the phone quite a bit and went through the interview process, so we were comfortable, especially after doing the cost review and things. Those pages are included in your packet, but this is the right path to take for the city.
Just one quick question. Would you guys be able to help us with the NPDES budget and help us provide
That'd be
the
great.
budget, finding a building and that stuff?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
We also, we spoke to them about the annual stormwater report, and about, like when we had building on the hill, things like that. Well, when there were questions about the stream and stormwater, you know, our storm drains and everything like that. So we went through all of those different types of requirements and had that discussion with them as well.
I guess I have a question for you on this. They talked about code enforcement, but we weren't looking to have them do code enforcement for us, or are we?
We are not. No, they do offer it, but that's not one of the services we were gonna take advantage of.
Just wanted to ask.
Any other comments, questions,
No,
concerns?
I think the other aspect that we really enjoy too is with the electronic plan review, some of the issues that we've had prior with plans not getting communicated in between our various agencies. That electronic plan review is gonna move things along, and they're not gonna have, our residents are not gonna have a lot of the same issues that we've had previous.
Things got lost.
Well, I was gonna say, we have a PIN issuance system that allows for the electronic issuance of permits and the keeping of all the files and providing the reports as Jim spoke about. But as a part of that, we do reviews electronically, utilizing a system that ties to there, and I think that's more what you're speaking to. So, but in either case, whether they handed it in paper or whether they handed it electronically, there is no time lapse. I currently do plan review for an entity for 4-day plan review, even things that are 9-story buildings. So we should, whether it's paper or electronic, there will be no lapse in time in how we do it.
Is there any legal problem if we take a break for a few minutes and staff and council meet outside to just talk on our own for a few minutes?
No, we can.
What I'd like to do, and I'm sorry for holding you here, is just take like a 5-minute break so we can talk outside amongst ourselves, and then we'll be back in. And also, we're obviously not getting to the rest of the very full agenda. Is there any chance we can schedule another meeting prior to the council meeting to review our,
This was gonna go on a special meeting on the 20th.
this topic?
Yes.
Well, crap. No, but my concern is the other issues in our agenda packet. We've got a half hour till.
Claims and demands are on tomorrow night's meeting.
The audit will be the first meeting that
Yeah.
Oh, so
we'll
that's not
have
gonna
some-
happen. So the only thing we really have to cover is claims and demands, is that correct?
Right, and then there's an update on the UUT, but that's information
We can
just
probably
in
do
there.
that fairly quickly after the break then. Okay, take a 5-minute break, be back at 10 minutes after 9, and we'll try to quickly review the claims and demands. I appreciate you being here, and if you can stay for a few minutes more.
Yes, sir.
Probably because it's pouring outside, I think.
We can step out if you want to.
Yeah.
It's raining.
No, I would,
Well, I realized that it wasn't under that.
Preferred to-
And natural predators, she's one of my friends, to take her. So.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Are we ready to call this morning? We need to turn the mics on for the,
No, I think it was fine.
okay,
Yeah.
Alrighty. This is our Administration and Finance Committee for the City of Canyon Lake. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the 5th of January. First order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Carrie, would you mind leading us?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, I think committee members are here, staff is here, and we have a number of guests that we'd like to welcome to our meeting. Look forward to your presentation and whatever you can do to help us make an informed and important decision to us is very valuable, so thank you for being here. Roll call, everybody's here. Public comments, we have no public or no requests for comments. Anybody wish to speak before we begin? Okay. One thing I don't see here is that I'd like to have a recommended change to the order of the agenda,
Okay.
if possible. Because we have our guests here, and because I'd like to have as much time as we need to be involved in that process of taking a look at the public works building safety planning and engineering plan going forward. I'd like to move that to the top of the agenda.
Okay.
So do we have any objection to that?
no, sir.
Okay. And I assume that's okay with you guys? We can get you out here a few minutes early, and you won't have to listen to us talk about the cost of blood draws and other things that you might find boring. With that said, we'll move item number 10 up to be, well, let's put it to 7. Let's accept minutes first. We should be able to do that with that. We'll make that numbers.
Are you going to go through claims and demands?
No, I just want to accept the meeting minutes from the last meeting. I don't think we have a big issue there. And then we'll move that to item number 6. Have everything else down appropriately. With that said, is any problem with
I
the
have no
previous
problems
meeting?
with the minutes.
Meeting minutes? Now we're ready to move on to our new item 6, which is the old item 10. And I guess we start on page
105.
105. So, and we have staff's overview and recommendation.
Of the 8 proposals that we received, staff felt that only 2 firms met all the requirements outlined in the RFP. Staff conducted interviews with both firms, which were Wildan and Charles Abbott Associates. After reviewing the information provided by both firms and their respective proposals during the interviews, staff is recommending contracting with Charles Abbott Associates for public works, building and safety, planning, and engineering services. The proposal from Charles Abbott allows for an increase in counter hours for building and safety. They will also provide, at no additional charge to the city, an electronic plan review system. This system will increase the speed in which the residents' plans are reviewed. Staff has conducted a cost analysis of the hourly rates of the city's current contractors versus the proposed hourly costs of Charles Abbott Associates, as well as an analysis of costs incurred during 2015, and compared those costs with the same services and hours provided by Charles Abbott. Based on the hours billed for January through September 2015, we would have a slight increase of about $1,200 in fees for public works, but a savings for both building and safety as well as planning. The comparison shows that for the first 3 quarters of 2015, the city would have potentially saved over $16,000 with the rates proposed by Charles Abbott Associates. Members of Charles Abbott team are here to answer any questions you might have.
Is there anything you would like to, you folks would like to say to us before we start digging in and asking questions? You want to give us a little bit of an overview of your firm and what you...
Okay, a brief overview, if you don't mind. Charlie Abbott started this company in 1980.
Excuse me for just a second. Because we're being recorded,
If you want him to be visible on the tape, he would have to come up here.
on the desk?
Yeah, pretty much on the desk, because we have it zoomed in.
There should be, I agree with that, I was gonna bring that up, that if somebody's gonna watch the tape, they're not gonna know that anything is going on. Having somebody sitting.
They'll just be able to hear the voice.
So the podium time, everything sitting, that's would be fine.
All right.
We'll check and see what's in view.
Yep.
It should be, it has the whole thing.
Well, it's.
Yep.
The problem is we don't have a person that moved it to... No, just talk about it.
I think that people can see it and hear, and see that somebody's talking, otherwise they can.
Yes.
So nothing.
Okay, so just briefly, Charlie Abbott started the Charles Abbott Associates in 1984. He started it an engineering firm based on what he wanted to do was a better customer service than he had seen previously. And in that, he had started at Palace Urban Estates some years ago. And he was asked also to provide building and safety, so he decided to do that. And we've since grown some 30 years to, I think it's now 30 other cities that we provide building and safety, a number of cities that we provide city engineering, and a host of others that we provide environmental and engineering as well. We provide building and safety, city engineering, I'm sorry, building and safety, city engineering, public works, and code. We do code enforcement as well, and we also provide fire prevention in terms of plan review for fire-related issues as it relates to buildings. We've been doing this, again, for some 30 years, and we've retained, with the exception of a couple of our clients, we've been able to retain clients over the years. We've had an average, I think our average now of 16 years that we've had with our clients. And it's dropped because we've added a number of cities in the last few years, both in Riverside County and in Georgia. We've expanded from California, Nevada, Georgia is where we're primarily focused. But our corporate office is right here in Orange County. We have a number of folks who live relatively close to here, one who actually lives in the city, who provides a lot of our engineering. I brought with us our proposed city engineer, proposed planner, proposed environmental person, Ray. I should actually name these names. Danny Chow, would-be city engineer. And we have Jim Morrissey, planner, and Ray Beimer, who would be an environmental. Margaret Munson, who actually lives here, she would be part of engineering and public works. Jim Barrett, he'd be the project manager for this entity, for the city. Jim actually has worked here before, providing backup with a previous provider. And then myself, who's a director for the firm, who's been a building official and an engineer as well, who would provide the backup. We did not bring our building and safety person. Unfortunately, New Year's Eve, the one who we proposed here originally in our first meeting, he unfortunately passed away of a heart attack on New Year's Eve. So we are here today without him, but we have solutions for that as well. We have a number of folks in our firm who meet the same qualifications, and without any hesitation, without any hiccup, he's a big loss, but we'll be able to step in and provide the same service that we are proposing.
You didn't mention planning either.
Well, normally we don't, we do have provided planning for a number of cities. Normally we don't provide planning as just our normal number of, let me digress, back up here. We don't normally provide planning as a means for our services that we provide. We have done it in the past. So we are actually teaming up with Jim Morrissey of PZL, right? Who is a part of our team today. We've worked with Jim for 15 years now, Jim, in another city. And we've been, our team, Margaret and Jim, have been very comfortable working with Jim as well as myself. So we've had the opportunity to work together, and that's why we kind of chose Jim to come and join the team here. The rest of the services are all out of one firm, and I think by doing that, we will have a seamless process. So whenever, like if we are so fortunate, and our building folks are here, and something comes in for planning, there will be nothing dropped. He'll be able, the person here will be able to communicate effectively and quickly with planning, even pick up things, deliver things, so that there's nothing left. Same thing with engineering. Our building folks who work directly with engineering all the time, if something came in for engineering, Danny wasn't here, we'd be able to pick that up, get it right to him. No time lapse in any of the services. So there won't be anything sitting, waiting for someone to come here, unbeknownst to them, because it's all going to be seamless in one team.
Let me ask one follow-up question to that. The way, at least from my perspective, the thing that I most want from you folks, if you take this on, is quality customer service, so people feel that they're not only respected, but feel that they're getting their money's worth, for one thing, and feel that their priorities are your priorities. That said, when somebody walks in the door, and the first step in getting something done around here in the building process anyway, usually seems to be through planning. So if, or not the building process, but something done that requires planning's involvement of yours. And if there's not a planning person in the facility, will we have the ability to still streamline that process so that people can, won't have to come back, won't have to set up appointments, won't have to go through a delayed process just to find out how to fill out a planning form, for instance.
Oh, absolutely, sir. And that's kind of what I spoke to, just in general. But the individuals here will be able to communicate quickly and effectively with the planner. We would even be able to give planner FaceTime or in some other electronic fashion to be able to talk to someone if the city is not opposed to that. We've done it in other cities, and we've done it effectively, communicating with meetings or even just a brief moment. Sometimes some folks just want to see that other person on the other side. And if they're available, being able to get that done. If they're not available, being able to get them in contact very quickly. You speak to customer service. Charlie, like I said, started this company based on customer service. So over the years, we've hired folks, not because they have solely the technical skills, because you can't teach customer service. So typically, we interview for customer service skills and a mix of technical. We can teach more technical, but we can't normally teach customer service because it's that's something you can't see. The bad customer service skills comes out in the future. I mean, you can't control that. So we've been very successful in hiring folks with great customer service skills. And one other thing, not to be too lengthy here, is that when we start working in a city, it's not the city and then there's us. We always think of ourselves as part of the city. I think that's why we've been successful in being in the city for a number of years. Where Jim manages staff right now, we have folks that have been there since, what, 1993? I mean, I could name a number of cities where we have folks since 1993, 1994, and the same folks, not a revolving door, the same folks, because we think that the community has consistency with people who work there. We want to maintain that, and then not only for the community, but also for the worker who has that same familiarity with tasks and with folks they communicate with. And it seemed to work out very well for us.
I don't know if you answered my specific question. If somebody comes in, wants some basic information or a form to fill out on planning, and we don't have somebody at the desk at the moment, would your other people be able to fill in those small vacancies and basic information, that kind of thing?
Yes, we will work closely with Jim in terms of any forms and things of that nature, setbacks, questions that we may be able to quickly answer, forms that need to be handed out, the proper forms, and so therefore the person here will have that ability to answer those questions, hand out the right paperwork, and if they're unsure, quickly get Jim on the phone and make sure that they're handing out the appropriate paperwork. We'll make sure that this is seamless.
So the person here would have to be in constant
Absolutely.
contact?
This is a team effort. It's not a separate entity.
In relationship to the idea of customer service, I think it's quite common amongst city building stuff, that you get complaints about the value of service provided. People wonder whether or not, the service that the city's providing is really worth what they're having to pay for that service.
Yes.
What can we do to make people feel that they are getting a fair value for the money they hand out for building inspection services and that kind of thing?
I think, well, that's a difficult question in terms of how we can make people feel like they're getting a value service, except for, that we'll always have folks here able to answer questions for them, be it service for them, for any technical questions. If they have any issues, we go out there and take a look. I'll tell you, when we have issues that come about, we try to make sure that we converse with the customer, go out to their particular place and see if there's any issues. I'll tell you something that we've also found very useful, and that is, and I'm not sure if the city's opposed to that, but often in the cities that we work in, we might wear city shirts if, you know, with their logos on there, because it's it kind of seems, it provides a uniformity. It's not, there's them, there's us. It's more of a team issue. And also, because of our folks have that team approach, once they work here, they feel like it's home. And they behave as though it's home in terms of their actions towards the public. I worked in the city for 14 years. No one knew I was a consultant until I was ready to leave. They thought I worked for the city. My job was to make sure that the client, the customer, the citizen was getting the best service as though I lived next door to them. And I was successful for 14 years in one city doing that. Jim has been successful in a number of cities doing the same thing. The reason why I say Jim is because often, even Ray, often environmental and planning aren't as in the face with the public as building and safety. We're out there at people's homes all the time on a daily basis, whether it's an air conditioner or a water heater or something. So I speak to, when I'm saying Jim, because we have a lot of interaction with the public. And so that's what, so if I may, I mean, the team in itself has the same approach across the board. It's just that most people don't see the environmental person dealing with stormwater unless they're a developer who's coming in on their project. But your daily homeowner doesn't see that. And unless they have a planning issue, it's just not the same interaction. So if I may.
Just one more follow-up.
Didn't know I was going to be on the hot seat, so I
Oh,
apologize
that's
for
all right.
any nervousness.
Well, I tend to put people on the hot seat when I have a chance. Old habits die hard. There is a perception, you know, you go into a building, hand over a lot of dollars, obviously then a lot of those dollars don't go to the city, they distribute in other areas, but it's a lot of money when you have to write out that check.
Yes, sir.
And I think that from a customer's point of view, they see a inspector sitting behind a desk, taking a taking a look at some plans, rubber stamping something, and it doesn't feel that there's a value for the services provided. Maybe somebody comes out and does a quick inspection and walks away. That person's left with a feeling of, I paid $10,000 for this, and I don't know, obviously there are, most of the stuff happens behind the scenes and they don't get to see it. But that perception contributes to a sense of ill will amongst people who feel that they've not been treated fairly. And I don't know what can be done about that, but I would like somehow or another for people to walk away from the experience of dealing with the city feeling that it might have been expensive, but it was worth it, and I don't know how we create that, but I just wanted to bring that out there as one of my goals would be to make sure that customers feel satisfied that their dollars are being well spent. If you've got any comments on that.
Well, I'll tell you what we have done in the past in a few cities, is we've had an opportunity for the public to come in, talk about building safety and the process, and why we do what we do, and ask if they have any questions. We've done that maybe an evening if the city's open to it, having a forum, I guess, so folks can come in and meet building safety, ask questions. We've done that in a number of cities, a couple of times, in one city maybe 1 year, and then maybe the next year because of code cycle. Because, a lot of things that we do are governed, come from the state of California. Unlike other states, the state adopts the code. We're only required in every city in the state of California, required required to enforce those codes. Unfortunately, that falls on the city, and that's where we come in and make sure that, not so much enforcement, but we make sure that folks I don't like to call it enforcement. I go out working with contractors to say, okay, how can I help you and you help me make sure we meet the intent of the code? And that's really what it's about, meeting the intent of the code and getting things done so that they have a legal project. We've obtained the right steps for the city to make sure that they have a safe project, and that's what they're really paying for, to make sure they have installed things properly, no one's getting hurt, contractors aren't taking advantage of homeowners. And not saying that that's an issue, but homeowners often feel that, hey, they're at the mercy of their contractor, good or bad. They may not know, all that is there that it's entailed. And our job is to make sure that that's done and according to state law, and any local amendments that apply. As it relates to environmental and even engineering, it's the same format. We're here not to mandate, but to work with and try to get people to meet the intent and the requirements of the law set forth.
Ron, can I add something?
Yes, sir.
If you mind? Do I need to?
If it's a short comment, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add to that a little bit about the inspection part. Everybody feels overregulated in their world in California. And as an inspector, we come out from in the field and they see us as this, they're antagonized by us because they're like, what is he going to catch? What's he going to make me do now? And we have to go in with that understanding that we have codes that the city's obligated through state law. We have to, so it's a lot of what we have to do is to sell that to them and make them understand. So our inspectors spend the time with people in the field to ensure that they understand why they have to do it. Because if you tell them, you got to strap your water heater. Well, some people go, why, this big old heavy thing, where's it going to go? If you explain to them that, in an earthquake, that can become quite volatile. The water heater is one of the single most dangerous things that can be in a home through various things. I won't go into a lot of detail, but so we try to explain that to them. One of the things I do is I've taught inspectors when you go in and look at a water heater, you don't just go walk, because our trained eye, we see what's wrong, not what's right. And we can walk in, we've looked at thousands and thousands of water heaters or patio covers, and we see what stands out as wrong. But if you walk on a job site and go, okay, people think, what did I get? So we take the time when the homeowner's standing there to touch the water heater strap, pull on it, take the pressure relief and pop it a little bit so we can make sure it's draining to the proper place. Just going through those exercises, then the homeowner says, okay, I see what he looked at. It's not like we just walked in and glanced and looked. And I was involved back when the transition, when you went from your original provider to your current provider, and that process and what occurred with that. A lot of that was that perception that people weren't getting that value. And so, without getting real wordy, that's part of the process, is that we understand. One of the worst things I joke about that happened to our profession is HGTV and Home Depot. We used to deal with contractors. Everybody go, I don't know what to do. I hire a contractor or I hire a professional. Now we're dealing with we've dealt with some homeowners that have an incredible amount of talent, but we kind of help them through how to do it. But that's our world now. Some inspectors I've worked with in other jurisdictions will say, well, it's not my job to teach people. Well, it is now. And that's our philosophy, and that's what our inspectors would do here. So,
I'm just curious how to handle it in reference to your comment just now about water heaters. How would you handle this comment, which happens to be true? Phoenix has passed an ordinance that says we no longer have to strap down water heaters. Now you've referenced why it was important, but on the other hand, if I lived in Phoenix, I wouldn't be burdened, if you will, by that requirement.
One of the differences, is in Phoenix though, is, in California, if I apologize for stepping in there, is that California unfortunately has a number of seismic fault zones, and we have a number that are very near us. And so I'm not sure that Phoenix has quite the same impact as it relates to seismicity.
Yeah.
That's the obvious answer, but wanted to ask the question
Yeah,
anyway.
no, that's a good question.
John, I'm hogging this conversation.
They can take a heat for that in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Jim, you talked about something that I wanted to get to, and you covered it, I think, pretty well. But one of my concerns, though, with inspections is the contractors as such. And I think contractors, when they're building, will say, I've got to do it this way because they're really tough. They make me do this kind of stuff, not the homeowners. And the homeowners needs to be protected from unscrupulous contractors who may not do things right. And so how do you work that, say, I mean, I've heard things like, well, they complain I put too many nails in. I didn't put enough nails in, and different things like that. And, you know, if it's not enough, that's a good thing. Too many, that may be a bad thing. And how do you get around that so that you are respected? And I don't mind them fearing the inspectors as long as it gets done right, but not just because they're a pain and want to get things done.
Well, I never want to be feared as an inspector. I want to be respected as an individual, and I respect them as individuals. And, you know, as we stated, everybody, we all feel overregulated. We're looking at all this stuff that's coming down. You know, when I started as an inspector, I could stack all the code books, you know, like this. Now it's the same thing as this. And that's not even all the reference materials now that the code doesn't say this is how you do it. It says, if you're going to do this, you got to da-da-da-da-da, and then go to this reference standard. And so it's not even in there. It's just referencing to a whole other book. So it's very complicated. It's complicated for the contractors because they don't go to the classes that we go to learn the code. They're working off of a set of plans. So when they bid a job, they bid it to make money. And that's, and I feel it's our responsibility, or our part of our process as being part of that team, is to help them finish that project on time so that they can make that profit, because that's their job. But on the other hand, we do have code requirements. So we try to work that, respect that. You know, you made the comment about too many nails. Well, a lot of guys go, I put in more nails, how could that be wrong? Well, you take too many nails and you put them in a 2x4 on a shear panel, and you've just split that and compromise that integrity, because that wood goes in there and it's not a drilling out where it's removing material and replacing something. It's adding more material, and it starts, you know, it'll actually split, and you get in a seismic event, it can cause a lot of damage. So we try to work with people and help them understand, but our inspectors have the training. And part of talking about the value that you asked about what we can provide is our emphasis on training. And I believe we are the only private firm, I know we were, and so I could be corrected on this, but at one time we were the only firm that's recognized by the International Code Council as a preferred provider for training. That means usually it's a entity like California Building Officials or ICC or their instructors that work for them that could do teaching that can apply to our required annual or every 3-year recertification of our ICC certifications. Our company has been recognized by ICC to be one of those providers. So we can teach classes and it counts. So that's our commitment to training and making sure we have good people and that we know the code. But as Ron said, there's that technical part and there's that people skill part. And our people have to know they have to know what this guy in the field's going through and try to help him get through that to get the minimum code standard.
If I may just add one thing, a lot of our guys come from the industry.
Yeah.
I was a contractor. I was a builder of residential and commercial. Tim was a builder. Your inspector who was going to be here was a builder. So we not only come as inspectors, we've been on that side. So we understood what it was like to have a guy or a person come to our job and do that checklist thing and find as many things as possible. So we don't try to operate that way. We really try to operate in terms of how can we